Clemson Sports Talk, Lawton Swan with you on a Wednesday afternoon. Now, again, some conversations out there on social media about Tyler Davis. People mentioning that here on the program. Today, we don't have anything confirmed on that front. Dabo Swinney will be speaking, however, this afternoon with the media after the Tigers get off the practice field on Wednesday. So possible updates to come out of Tiger Town. But again, when we talk about COVID-19 and its impact on college football in 2021. Listen, I'm your guy. I've been the guy saying it for months. I kept asking the question to people. You listen to the show, get these analysts on. Hey, what do you think the impact of COVID will be? I don't think it's going to be much. No, well, reverse that. I mean, it could have a significant impact on a lot of different things or games. But the thing is that the schools that have the higher vaccination rates should be in a much better situation because of the testing protocols and how all of that works. And the good news is, and Dabo Swinney talked about this yesterday when he was asked about some of these things, and I kind of laid out what I understood to be the plan a year ago with Clemson, the way they sort of handled it. And it was a wise plan. So if you just go into the season, you say nobody's had COVID and everybody gets on a plane and they're masked up and somebody gets positive and then 10 other people do as well. Well, the play was a year ago, from what I understand, is that when Clemson would fly, they would try to space the people who had, this is before vaccines now, who had already had COVID in between people who had not, thus increasing the distance between two people who were still at that time very much at risk of maybe catching COVID-19, possibly having symptoms, having to be out, fever, all of that. So if you put some buffers in, and again, the way this virus works and worked then specifically was more people would get sick. You could create larger buffers. So now if you got one guy over here who has not had COVID and you got 8 guys that have, you could put the other guy that hasn't on the other side. So what you start to do is make that distance between the two go from 3 feet to maybe 6, 12 or more feet. And you try to do that by row and crisscross and, section it off so that you can protect more and more people and keep those that were more susceptible to the virus from getting it. Now, with this strain of COVID-19, this Delta variant, which has obviously done just numbers on not only just individuals in public, but also schools, etc., it seems to be a great deal more contagious. And I read an article from a I can't even say the word, virologist, whatever you call them, the people that deal with viruses. And the thing that they were saying was the first round of COVID that came through was you typically, if you had one person, they'd spread it to 3. This Delta variant apparently spreads more rapidly, or it's more easily spread, and it goes to 7. So that's one of the other reasons that we're seeing such a high number. And if you think about a player potentially getting COVID-19, the odds are, given how quickly this thing does spread and how much more contagious it is, and there are levels of contagion, like I don't believe that it is as contagious, if my memory serves me correctly, as the chickenpox, which apparently, little did I know, was a pretty contagious deal. And so it was just kind of covering the different levels of how contagious viruses were and where this one ranked, versus others. And so, yeah, I mean, listen, you're going to have COVID-19 issues. Is it Tyler Davis this week? It may very well be. Could there be other players? Sure. What will be interesting to me over the long haul, and not just for Clemson, But how big of an impact does having the vaccination, you know, how often does that protect you from a guy getting sick and then not being able to play? And I don't know how there's no real way to know, right? Like somebody was talking to me the other day and they're like, well, do you think you've had COVID-19? I don't know. I mean, I had the vaccine, but I haven't felt sick at any point, anytime recently. And if I did have it, I didn't know it, right? And even if I were to go get a blood test right now, because I have the vaccine, it would show I have the antibodies. So I don't know how we would know who has the vaccine and was protected enough that they never got so sick or never got any way symptomatic, or even when they were tested, don't show up as being contagious, versus those that don't get vaccinated that end up being tested frequently and pop up contagious. So I don't know how we, can ever tell whether or not it helps or how much it helps, I should say. But you just kind of sit here today and you hear this and it takes you back all of a sudden to last season. And if these things end up being accurate, which if you said to me, Swanee, is somebody going to be out because of COVID week 1? The answer to that question is yes, I think there will be. I mean, I think there will be. If the question is, well, who is Tyler Davis? Because that's what I'm hearing online. The answer from what Swanee can give you is, I haven't heard from anybody that that's the case. But if indeed it is the case, people are going to get COVID-19. The question now becomes, is Davis one of those guys that wasn't vaccinated? And if he wasn't one of those guys that was vaccinated and he just gets through it and he recovers, then now you would believe that because he's already gotten it, he's got the antibodies and he should be good for a while. I don't know how long. I did see that, just having COVID previously versus the vaccine apparently is not as, what's the word? You're not as protected by just having had the virus 6 months ago versus had you had the COVID-19 shot 6 months ago. So there, the vaccine, that's sort of how that works. All right, we'll hit a break. Stay with us.
Plus tax tags and title with